You're listening to In the Zone on Sports Radio 1340 WEPM.
And welcome back to In the Zone with Fred and Angela on this Thursday afternoon. And we are proud to bring into the program now the head coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers, Bob Huggins. And, Coach, I want to go back and talk a little bit about Tuesday night before we move on and talk about what's coming up on Saturday. But a good win for your ball club to get that win on senior night and send the two seniors you have on the team out with a big win.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought we played with great intensity to start the game, and really I think everything kind of started with our defense. It got us out in transition. We were able to get out in transition, get some easy baskets, and got an 11-point lead, I think, really primarily because of what we did defensively.
When you look at that game, Coach, Darryl Bryant, Truck got 28 points for you. I mean, it's been an up-and-down season for Truck, no doubt about it, but it's good to have him come out and have that kind of game for you and really do a great job from the free throw line in that game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Truck has shot the ball a lot better here lately. He's had games we didn't shoot it well, but you know, we put him on the other team's best perimeter player, and so he's done a good job from that standpoint. And I mean, the guy's going to end up, I think, in the top 10 in assists all time, which says a lot.
Hey, Coach, that game, I really think it was a big confidence boost for the team. They came out, played 2 full halves, a lot of energy. And the last few games I've been watching, you know, I think they were kind of afraid to lose the game, you know, and they tightened up a little bit on you. And DePaul on Tuesday night just looked like they had so much more rhythm than they had the previous few games.
Well, let's be honest, there were a lot of things that happened in those games. You know, from missed goaltends to obvious guys getting knocked down in the middle of the floor. A lot of things happened, but you know, good teams, I think, fight through those things and persevere. It's hard to do it at the end of games.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I think, you know, when those things continue to happen to you, I think it shakes your confidence a little bit. And I think Tuesday night was a real good boost for particularly young guys, their confidence.
Well, let's talk about those missed goaltends and stuff. I mean, do you think some rule changes need to be made? Because you have instant replay now, but, you know, on goaltending, they can't go back to that.
Well, you know, I think in the last 2 minutes, I think they should be able to go to the monitor for something questionable. You know, you're allowed to go to the monitor to see if it's a 3-point shot. You're allowed to go to the monitor for a variety of things. Mm-hmm. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to go to the monitor for something like that.
Do you like the instant replay in the games now, or would you rather just go back to the old way, not having it at all?
I think sometimes it's used a little bit too much. I mean, you know, we use it sometimes to put a second or two on the clock or take a second or two off. I'm not sure that that really requires stoppage to play. But I think in situations that decide games, you know, because, you know, if it happens earlier in the game, you have a chance at least to make it up. Mm-hmm. Late in the game, it's awfully hard.
Hey, Coach, a couple players I want to talk about real quick. Dennis Kalichla, first of all, and the I guess the beating that he takes on the inside. I mean, you watch some of the games that I've seen on the films. I mean, he just takes a beating on the inside. You think some of that is just because of his strength and as big as he is, 270-some pounds, they think they can take that inside?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, because he's taking some beatings.
You know, it's awfully physical down there. I mean, I think, honestly, if Dennis were allowed to defensively do some of the things that happens to him, then he wouldn't have any problem guarding anybody. He'd have him out to the top of the key. Mm-hmm.
Kevin Jones, for you, just talk about him for just a second. The job that he has done, not only this season, but for his 4 years. I mean, he has been the most consistent player you've had in a while, and I think, and if he's not the Big East Player of the Year, I think something's sad wrong.
Well, I agree with that. You know, KJ's had an unbelievable year. He will, I think, be the third player in the history of the Big East to lead the league in scoring and rebounding in the same year. Just has done a phenomenal job, and I think what people don't see is what he does in practice with those young guys, what he does off the floor. He's been a model of everything that you would want in a student athlete.
Well, Coach, let's talk about your charity for a minute. Congratulations, moving on to the finals of the Infiniti Coaches Charity Challenge for the Norma May Huggins Cancer Fund. And now I read that Calipari is urging fans to support you now. I mean, that's great.
It is great. You know, Cal and I go way, way back, and we do a lot of things for each other, you know, speak at different things for each other and do different things. So it's great of John to do that. And It's a great cause, and for all those Mountaineer fans out there, it's we were going to get $5,000 if nobody voted, and it's been back and forth between three of us now, and it'd be great to take $100,000 over the Cancer Center.
We're talking with WVU head basketball coach Bob Huggins. Hey, Coach, what brought that charity event about? Did someone present that to you to entertain it, or was it just something that you came about and was like, hey, yeah, I'll enter it and give $5,000 to my fund?
No, Infiniti contacted the coaches that are in it, and I'm reading through it and I'm thinking $5,000 for the Cancer Center would be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The winner will be announced on March 9th. Voting ends on Thursday, March the 8th. You can go to ESPN.com/Infiniti to vote.
Yeah, it's Infinity with an I on the end. I think everybody misspells it, that's why they can't find it.
Hey, Coach, I know you watched the game last night between South Florida and Louisville. The Big East is just up. It's just crazy this year. You get South Florida going on the road that they don't play well on the road, but they go on the road last night and win at Louisville. You've got Cincinnati beating UConn last night. It's still up in the air about wherever the seedings are going. But let's talk about that game last night between South Florida and Louisville. What did you see from that contest with the Bulls winning?
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I'm just getting back. I went cross country to go watch a guy yesterday, so I haven't seen that. I had a chance to watch several other South Florida games, and they just do a great job of packing it in. They're so long. They've got such great size that they just kind of engulf the everything inside the three-point area and try to make you beat them from beyond. And then because they're so long, they get decent pressure on shots. And they've got a lot of weapons. It's not like they have one guy that they have to depend on to score for them. They've got a variety of guys who can score.
Yeah, they don't really have anybody averaging in double figures, but they've got a lot of guys averaging, 9.9 points, 9.8 points, 8.7 points. They've got 4 or 5 guys that are averaging close to double figures.
Well, Gilchrist scored in double figures for him for the first 2 years. I think I actually got about 16 or 17 a game for him, and he's given up of himself. I think of himself a lot for the betterment of the team. Ron Anderson's playing great. And Collins has been, I think, probably the difference in their team. He's a guy who distributes the ball, and he's got the ball in his hands a lot and gets the ball to open guys.
When you talk to your club today with practice and everything, getting ready for this matchup against South Florida, I know I looked on their website today, and they're calling this the biggest game Saturday in 20 years at South Florida. So, they're really putting a lot of hype with this game being their senior day as well. It's going to be a huge atmosphere down there to go down there and get a win, which I think is very important for your ball club to do.
Well, it is important, but, to say we haven't been in a lot of atmospheres is, we opened a year at Kansas State with 18,000 people there. We've been in the Carrier Dome. We've been a lot of places, so I would doubt very seriously if that bothers us much.
Coach, when you look at coming into this final game of the regular season, then looking forward to the Big East tournament coming up, still a lot of things in the air. What is the mindset now going into this game? Is it just thinking purely about South Florida and not even worrying about the Big East tournament right now?
It's what you do all the time. That's for fans and guys like you to get somebody to call in and talk about things. For us, you play your next game and do the best job you possibly can.
Well, hey, Coach, I've been watching, obviously a lot of college basketball this year, and I'm seeing a lot of 40, 50, low 60-point games from top 25 teams. Just looking at the Louisville-South Florida game last night. Do you see a lot of that? I like the games that are high scoring. Your team for most of this year has been scoring in the 70-point games. What do you want out of a college basketball team?
Well, I think everybody has to understand guys are bigger, stronger, and faster than they've ever been. And I think when you look back, when everybody said, well, look what they did back then, well, what they did back then was they played about 4 feet off of guys. If you remember how they played defense with their palms up. How'd you like to see a guy rush a passer with his palms down and a stance sliding around? We just don't do that anymore, and guys are so long, guys that are the size of what centers used to be are now point guards, or at least 2 guards. And the floor hadn't changed. So, when the floor stays the same and obviously guys get a lot bigger and a lot longer, there's a whole lot less room. And that's what's happened. The kids today are just better. They're better athletically. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and the idea that they don't shoot as well isn't true either, but because they guard so much better today. I mean, all you have to do is turn on ESPN Classic, and you're looking back and you're saying, wow, they're not up in anybody like they are today.
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, hey, Coach, we're here in the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. We've got 5 AAA high schools in this area. We cover a lot of the high school sports, and just wanted to get your best advice for high school athletes wanting to compete at the college level.
We got to put time in. You got to put time in, and not just put time in, but put meaningful time in. Get yourself a ritual, and you got to be able to shoot the ball. I think something that everybody's looking for today is somebody who can pass the basketball, and then you continue to become as athletic as you possibly can. Get rid of body fat, run, be in great condition, and just do everything that you can possibly do to better yourself.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Sounds good, Coach. Hey, we appreciate the time. Wish you the best of luck Saturday coming up against South Florida and get that win, and then we'll move on to the Big East tournament, all right?
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank
thanks.
you. Hey, Coach.
Encourage those people to go out and vote now.
There you go. We'll definitely do that. ESPN.com/Infiniti with an I. Hey, Coach Bob Huggins of the West Virginia Mountaineers talking to us, and that was cool.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Stay tuned. More In the Zone with Fred and Angela coming up here on Sports Radio 1340 WEPM.